Tonight on KGW News, the dramatic end to a 60-mile police chase. How the suspect went from the passenger seat of a Homeland Security vehicle to taking off behind the wheel. And we are just hours away from what very well may be the largest nurses' strike in Oregon history.
I never in my life thought I would be participating in a strike.
Then later, a bride-to-be diagnosed with a serious lung condition a week before her wedding.
It's been a rough week.
The clues that point to her getting sick, she says, at her bachelorette party. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We begin with that wild police chase and crash after investigators say a Portland man stole a Homeland Security vehicle because it turns out when federal agents detained him, they did not put him in handcuffs. Investigative reporter Kyle Boshi just got a copy of the dashcam video that shows us what happened next.
9 a.m. April 24th near Castle Rock, Washington. Police chase a suspect after he'd stolen a Homeland Security car from federal agents. Police used a pursuit tactic, causing the suspect to lose control of the vehicle. The Homeland Security SUV flipped onto its roof. 43-year-old Travis Greigla later emerged from the wreckage and was taken into custody.
Walk back this way, do now.
The Portland man was arrested on an outstanding warrant and federal child pornography charges.
Hey man, what's your name? Travis.
So how does someone steal a police car from federal agents, then lead police on a 60-mile chase? Newly released body cam and dash cam video along with court records help explain. Early that morning, federal agents executed a search warrant on Greigla's Southeast Portland home. Agents didn't handcuff him. He was seated in the passenger seat of the police car with the window down and an officer standing outside the vehicle, according to court documents. After learning the feds had discovered evidence inside, Greigla said, "This is not going to be good for me." He then locked the doors, slid into the driver's seat, and took off in the Homeland Security SUV. Greigla led police on a chase, reaching speeds near 120 miles per hour from Portland through southwest Washington. He evaded multiple spike strips.
Might have got a clip on that.
Eventually, the front driver's side deflated. And as the suspect tried to exit the freeway in Castle Rock, the pursuit came to a dramatic end. Greigla is a registered sex offender who, according to federal agents, has multiple convictions for sexually abusing children and possession of child porn. According to federal agents, the police vehicle did have 2 firearms and additional police gear in a lockbox. There was also evidence inside the car when it was stolen. In a statement, Homeland Security said it's reviewing this incident to ensure all relevant procedures were followed. Kyle Boshi, KGW News.
What a story. All right, in less than 7 hours now, thousands of nurses from 6 Providence hospitals plan to hit the picket lines asking for better pay and working conditions. Nurses say after months of negotiations, time is quite literally up. The nurses from those hospitals officially issued notice on June 7th of their intent to strike for 3 days. Representatives from the Oregon Nurses Association, that is the union, say they want safe staffing, affordable health care, and competitive wages. Providence says it's offered an 18% increase in wages over 3 years.
The number of patients in the St. Vincent's, Newburgh, Milwaukee, Willamette Falls, Hood River, Medford, when that many people are saying there's a problem, it's time to have people listen, I guess.
We'll be working hard when the strike is over to come back to the table and get to, a fair contract with our nurses as quickly as we can.
Well, you heard the list of the 6 there. Providence says replacement nurses will be on hand to keep the 6 hospitals open and operating during the strike. And stay with KGW News for complete coverage of the nurses' strike tomorrow morning on Sunrise. New details as we get them here and online on KGW.com and, of course, on the KGW app. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, 4 Vancouver police officers are on administrative leave after they shot and killed a suspect. It is the second fatal shooting by Vancouver police in 10 days. This time, officers were responding to reports of a man threatening people with a gun near Northeast Andreessen Road and 22nd Street around 1 this morning. Police say he refused their commands and they sent a canine in to stop him. That's when authorities say the suspect pointed a gun at them and 4 officers opened fire. The suspect later died in the hospital. The canine was also shot in the tail and underwent surgery. In Marion County, the sheriff's office is hoping for help finding a missing inmate who they say has been on the run since Saturday. Deputies tell us 27-year-old Rigoberto Rodriguez Morales left the county's work release transition center without permission. He was serving a sentence for menacing and assault. Deputies say he escaped custody once before, just over a year ago. And a heads up for drivers, ODOT is planning a major I-5 shutdown in southwest Portland the weekend before the July 4th holiday. A 4-mile stretch will be completely closed to traffic in both directions, beginning the night of Friday, June 28th through Monday, July 1st. Crews will finish replacing the aging bridge over 26th Avenue. As closure stretches from Capitol Highway to Terwilliger, more on-ramps will also be closed to reduce traffic. Drivers will be encouraged to use I-205 or 217 as an alternate. To a health alert now and a warning from Oregon health officials after confirmed cases of measles just jumped from 2 to 3. They include an unvaccinated adult and child in Clackamas County and a third new case in Marion County. Alma McCarty's here with a look at the latest and what to look out for. Alma?
Well, David, we don't know much other than both people in Clackamas County live in the same household and were exposed to measles between May 19th and June 4th. Besides traveling to Marion County, health leaders say they haven't left the state, suggesting there may be other unreported measles cases in Oregon.
Measles has made its way to Oregon this year.
We have escaped so far, but it looks like our luck has run out.
And the airborne disease is putting health officials on high alert, like Dr. Paul Cieslak with the Oregon Health Authority.
Measles is one of the most highly contagious diseases known. And if you're in an area where somebody has measles and you are susceptible, you're not vaccinated, the odds are really high that you're going to get it.
He says given the drop in Oregon's vaccination rates in recent years, that ups the risk, especially for vulnerable populations.
My big fear is that it lands in a place where there's a high proportion of unvaccinated people. Most Oregonians are vaccinated and really have nothing to worry about from the disease. But, you know, we've had some schools in Oregon where only 20% of the kids are vaccinated. And if measles were to land in a highly unvaccinated population, it would spread like wildfire before we were even aware that it was happening.
That's why OHA is getting the word out now after 2 people, an unvaccinated adult and child from Clackamas County, were exposed somewhere in Marion County. Both are recovering. OHA confirmed a third case in Marion County Monday evening.
If you've been exposed and you really think, you know, for example, you know the case, and you're susceptible to the disease, then you know, we would want you to stay home for 21 days after your last exposure, because you could come down with measles any day now.
OHA says early symptoms start showing up a week or 2 after exposure to the virus. Fever, muscle aches, nasal congestion, cough, and inflammation of the eyes. Then that rash begins a couple of days later, starting on the face and spreading to the rest of the body. Health leaders recommend calling your doctor and setting up an appointment to avoid exposing other people in a waiting room. David?
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you, Alma. Appreciate that report. Well, new tonight, some people in Tigard are being advised to boil their tap water due to a potentially harmful bacteria. We're going to show you a map of the impacted area. It includes the Canterbury Hill area near Southwest McDonald Street and Pacific Highway. Officials say there was a loss of water pressure in the system today that may have allowed some bacteria to enter. Those living in that area should boil water or use bottled water for drinking, washing dishes, or any food prep. The city tells us they are testing the water now and should have an update by tomorrow afternoon. Well, now to a devastating loss in Aloha for a single father and his 3 kids who lost everything when the house they were renting caught on fire. On top of everything, they don't have renter's insurance. Catherine Cook shows us how loved ones are now helping them recover.
I got a phone call from my kids saying that the house was on fire.
It was Friday afternoon. Mark Miner was at work and rushed back to his Aloha home.
Don't know what happened. Everything went up so fast.
His 2 youngest kids and their dog, Oso, were home and made it out safely. His oldest son, Noah, a standout wrestler at Aloha High School, was at a tournament in Utah.
Super grateful, very happy they didn't get hurt.
Their home now uninhabitable.
Life changes really fast. 10 minutes goes by and can rip down 14 years of life.
Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue hasn't determined a cause yet. Mark says everything inside the home was destroyed, and he doesn't have renter's insurance.
I pinch pennies everywhere I can, so 3 kids by myself, it's hard. You don't ever expect anything like this to ever happen.
A coworker started this GoFundMe to help Mark and his family get back on their feet.
It's a big blessing, that's for sure.
In the meantime, they're staying with family.
I need a roof for me and my kids. That's about it. Everything else can come and go, so rebuilding is rebuilding.
The family hopes to find a new home within Aloha High School boundaries so Noah can return here next year.
I have really good coaching there. I enjoy the team. I don't really want to go anywhere else.
No matter what, they're grateful they're together, a blessing they cling to now more than ever.
And just appreciate what you have. You never know what you could lose, and it could all go away in a couple seconds.
In Aloha, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Good wisdom and a good reminder. You're watching KGW News, and straight ahead at 11, how a bride-to-be ended up in the ICU with a disease that impacts the lungs just a week before she was supposed to walk down the aisle. Plus, the Coast Guard rescue that was nowhere near the ocean, how crews jumped into action flying and swimming to save a dad, his daughter, and their dog.
I'm Matt Safino. It was a cloudy, cool day, Western Oregon, but we had sunshine to the east, and then we got into the act on the west side of the state, too, as we head towards summer. We'll let you know what the beginning of the new season will look like.